Year 1 in this world, I put just 1 point into strength, and already, a single punch can shatter stone. Year 2, I add more strength. My body can now ignore blades entirely. I can crush a kitchen knife into a ball of scrap metal with my bare hands. With a talent like that, I land a job as a constable in town. Government salary, stable life. Year 3, the Qin Empire goes to war with the northern tribes. Lucky for me, I have no family ties. The authorities see someone like me, a man with nothing to lose, as a liability. They fear I might run, or worse, turn against them, so they leave me out of the draft. But the bad news hits anyway. My chief is taken for the war. Before he leaves, eyes red, he entrusts his 10-year-old daughter Shira to my care. He never comes back. Year 4, with 4 points in strength, I am nearly unmatched among ordinary people. A gang of raiders attacks the town. With one blade and a casual stroll, I cut down over 20 of them. The old mayor starts grooming me as his successor. The people call me their guardian god. There is one small problem though. Among the raiders I killed was a man named Ray, and his older brother Reich got insanely lucky 2 years ago and was accepted into an immortal sect. They say cultivators never let revenge wait. Good thing he just started. Without 10 or 20 years of training, he simply cannot leave the mountain. I do the math. And breathe easy. In 20 years, who knows who will be the one doing the killing. Year 11. 10 points in strength means a single punch now creates a vacuum shockwave. Something about raw power starts to feel off, so I try putting a point into luck instead. That year I find money on the ground just walking around, and catch fish with a bare hook. It feels like I become the chosen one. Year 13. 2 pieces of news arrive at the same time. The bad news, word comes from the front lines. Shira's father has died in battle, along with thousands of others. The girl cries until her voice breaks. The good news, a master from the Xuanshao sect descends the mountain to take disciples, claiming there is someone in this area with exceptional luck. I assume that person is me, but the test reveals it is Shira. Shira refuses to go. She had already discovered my secret, that I never age. Hoping that one day she can stand by my side forever, she finally agrees to become a sect disciple. Her only condition, take me along. Reality, however, is brutal. The master examines my spiritual root and gives me 4 words, no root, no gift. Bringing me back to the sect would only be a burden. I am turned away at the door. As compensation, the master lets me choose one item. I wave off the divine weapons. Instead I ask, is there a cultivation art that trades lifespan for power? He stares at me like I'm the biggest fool he has ever seen. But he tosses me a worn manual, the Breath of Eternity art, along with 2 foundation pills. The manual reads, 300 years to reach the core stage, 3,000 years for the nascent soul stage, 30,000 years to become a saint, 300,000 years to stand undefeated against the world. Even better, it can burn 3 times the lifespan to gain 3 times the cultivation speed. This art was practically made for me. What takes others 300 years takes me only 100. Time flies. Another 10 years pass. The old mayor retires. I naturally step into the role of mayor. By now my status panel looks impressive. Strength at 20, luck at 6. I flick a falling leaf, and it pierces solid rock 50 meters away. Boosted by my high luck stat, the Breath of Eternity art evolves into the Grand Tortoise Breath art. My reputation begins to spread. Countless wanderers flock to town seeking me out. Orphans whose clans were wiped out. Geniuses who were jilted. Losers with broken cultivation veins. Every single one of them has main character energy written all over their face. They kneel at my door begging to become my disciples. I turn them all down. Are you kidding me? Taking in someone who comes preloaded with enemies and bad karma means a lifetime of headaches for me. They refuse to leave, so they just settle in town. My peaceful Gantang town gets turned into what everyone starts calling the little martial world. One day someone wants to test my limits. They deliberately send a gang to brawl in my territory. I sit in the tea house, not even bothering to stand up. I dip one finger into a drop of tea, and flick. The droplet fires out like a cannonball. It blasts the ringleader off his feet, sending him flying dozens of meters. Half the street collapses on impact. The crowd goes pale. The crisis fades. Then the one pulling the string steps forward to apologize. It turns out to be an officer from the Qin Empire's Imperial Guard Bureau. He wants me to come out of retirement and save the Empire. I ask just one question. Does the Qin Empire have no other immortals left? Because I still remember, back when I first arrived in this world, I witnessed an immortal descend from the sky with my own eyes and flatten an entire city with one palm strike. That is exactly why I chose to lay low and quietly build my strength. So how is it that now, there is no one else to turn to? There's one more, he says, but that person entered death seclusion long ago, completely cut off from the world. You are the only one left. From him, I learned that this world is merely the mortal realm. The true world of cultivation is the spirit realm. If spirit realm cultivators force their way down to the mortal realm, the laws of heaven suppress their power. So very few ever bother making the trip. Everything clicks. And honestly, I feel a little thrill. It seems this world does not have many truly dangerous players. If I just lay low for a few tens of thousands of years, I will become unbeatable. As for going out to fight right now, I shake my head without hesitation. My figure flickers, and I vanish into thin air. War is a different price tag entirely. And way too dangerous. I am not going. End of discussion. A few days pass. For no apparent reason, several desiccated corpses appear in town, their faces twisted in horror. The same thing happened decades ago. I remember it was Master Yun who handled it back then. This time, Master Yun is nowhere to be found. What finally arrives is his corpse and a farewell letter. The letter states clearly, the killer is a massive serpent deep in the mountains, on the verge of transforming into a dragon. It cultivates by draining the life force of humans. I read the letter, then turn to the crowd of onlookers and ask, have you heard the legend of the old man who moved a mountain? That old man is me. That night I enter the mountains alone. Standing before a mountain shaped like a serpent's tail, with 25 points in strength, I slowly raise my right fist. Boom. The earth splits. The entire mountain shatters from a single punch. Amid the rubble, a serpent dozens of meters long lies barely alive. The serpent roars. I only needed 100 more souls to become a dragon. You have destroyed my path to immortality. Are you not afraid of divine punishment? Sorry, I'm not from this world. Whether heaven's laws here apply to me, honestly hard to say. Then one more punch and the serpent demon is dead. To my surprise, with my luck boosting things, I absorb a strand of dragon chi from its body. I now have the ability to kill from a distance. At this point, I estimate my combat power is close to the 8th or 9th level of the foundation stage. The next morning, the townspeople discover the entire mountain is gone. Everyone suspects it was me, so they give me a nickname, Half Step Unbeatable. Why only half a step? Because no one has ever seen me fight a real immortal cultivator. Either way, after that incident, Gantang Town draws another wave of martial artists who want to be near me. And because of all these wanderers, the town is officially renamed the Little Martial World. None of this really affects me though. Keeping a low profile is simply no longer an option. Decades of seclusion follow. The world outside shifts dramatically. A new emperor ascends the Qin throne, and the front lines crumble almost immediately. The Little Martial World faces a real crisis of its own. Reich, the one who joined an immortal sect 30 years ago, has returned. 30 years on one side of the river, 30 years on the other. What goes around comes around. The Reich of the past is now a full-fledged sect cultivator. He has come because he learned his brother Ray died here in the Little Martial World. He is here for revenge, and especially after he overpowers the 4 sect masters of the Little Martial World by force, and then learns that hiding in this town is someone who can shatter mountains and sever rivers. Someone who moves like an immortal. Someone like me. Reich puts it together immediately. The one who killed his brother is most likely me. As for my strength, he is not afraid in the slightest. Shattering mountains and severing rivers, he can do that too. So the people of the 4 sects are forced to come to my door and wake me up, and the first battle I will fight after emerging from seclusion, my first real clash against a true immortal cultivator, is about to begin. But honestly, I am not worried at all. A guest has come from far away after all. We might as well trade a few punches first. If I cannot kill him, I can always throw him out afterward. Especially since, after decades in this world, my strength stat has reached 30. My power is far beyond what any ordinary cultivator can match. Facing Reich as he floats in the air, arrogant as a god, I remain completely calm. He looks down at me and demands, was it you who killed my worthless little brother? Good riddance. Killing him just gives me a better excuse to slaughter every last one of you insects. You have too much killing in your heart. Reich is done talking. He raises his hand and sends a sword strike slashing down. With every onlooker watching in terror, I simply extend two fingers and casually catch the flying sword between them. Then I flick. The rebound force is terrifying. It sends Reich blasting hundreds of meters through the air. So this is what an immortal cultivator is. I am a little disappointed. Those words push Reich to the edge of rage and humiliation. He summons his soul artifact, unleashing a storm of 1,000 blades across the sky. He wants to tear me apart completely. Catch this. I swing one arm and golden dragon chi roars out. Every single blade shatters in an instant. Let me show you what real cultivation looks like. I extend one finger and flick from a distance. The air explodes. The ground trembles. A devastating shockwave reduces Reich to nothing but dust. One finger to split a river, shatter a mountain, end a life. After watching me kill an immortal with a single finger flick, every martial artist present feels ice run down their spine. No one dares breathe. I glance calmly at the nearby wanderers and ask, how much do you know about the sect Reich came from? Reich was a disciple of the Chiyu sect 80 miles from here. Even before he began cultivating, he had already done countless terrible things, and yet the sect still took him in. Their patriarch is the only cultivator from the Qin Empire permanently stationed in the mortal realm. But rumor has it he entered death seclusion 100 years ago. Let us hope the old monster actually ascended. Anyone who could produce a disciple like Reich is not a good person. After that, life returns to its quiet rhythm. The 4 sect masters offer to renovate my rundown little house. I say no. 80 years pass. Old friends are all gone. Only this old house still holds the marks of earlier days. Some things are worth keeping around. Before long, that familiar face from the Imperial Guard Bureau shows up again. He used to carry himself with pride and energy. Now he is frail and bent, his hair completely white. I sigh and say, you have been fighting all this time and it is still not over? The previous emperor has died. A child now sits on the throne. The court is in chaos. The first line of defense has fallen. Only thanks to Princess Lyra's mastery of military strategy and her presence on the front lines has the second defense line barely been held. Sir, the Qin Empire has no generals left. The immortal sects are useless to us. You are the only one who can save the empire now. A princess leading the army. Has the Qin Empire truly run out of men? How does it come to a woman carrying this? My hand already raised to wave him off freezes in midair. The old man sees my blank expression and assumes I still refuse. He grits his teeth and says, the princess may be a woman, but she carries the spirit of the empire's founder. She said that if the Qin Empire falls, the people of this land will become livestock for the northern tribes. I never said I would not go. Sir, you too came from ordinary beginnings. Can you really bear to watch? It is just that every Qin general has died, and now a woman has to carry it all. That really is not right. If you are willing to act, the war will surely be resolved. Enough flattery. Where is it? I pull on my bamboo hat. The old man hurries to answer. Duanxia Pass, 3,000 miles from here. 3,000 miles? Take a horse, you ride back. Before his words even land, the old man feels a gust of wind slam into his face so powerful he cannot open his eyes. When he finally can, there is no trace of me left in the room. Only the stone floor shows any sign. 2 footprints pressed half a foot deep into the rock. 3,000 miles away, at the battlefield, the sky above Duanxia Pass bleeds red with the dying sun. The empire's last barrier is on the verge of collapse. Atop the walls, bodies cover every surface. Beneath a tattered dragon banner, Princess Lyra stands in silver armor stained dark red, leaning on a broken sword, gasping for breath. She is the last dignity of the Qin royal family. Beyond the gate, dark clouds press down over the city. Tens of thousands of northern tribe soldiers are in no hurry to attack, because hovering in the air above is an elder dressed in blood-red robes. He stands atop a massive bone artifact and holds in his hand the 10,000 soul banner. Countless tormented souls wail from within it. He smiles, cold and oily. Little beauty, I am an elder of the Chiyu sect. You have a decent spiritual root. If you agree to become my disciple, I may let a trace of the Qin royal bloodline survive. Otherwise, today the city burns. Demon! The Qin Empire only has princesses who die in battle, no royals who surrender to live. You refuse the easy way, then you take the hard way. The Crimson Elder lets out a cold snort. He swings the 10,000 soul banner, and in an instant, a howling dark wind erupts. Countless black souls condense into one massive ghostly claw and slams down toward the top of the wall. This strike is called the Underworld Ghost Claw. It is the full force attack of a late Foundation stage cultivator. Against this palm, any mortal army would be dissolved into nothing in an instant. Lyra closes her eyes in despair. She never imagined that when she was just one step from holding the border, a cultivator would personally intervene in a mortal war. At that razor's edge of a moment, a sharp crack tears through the sky above. Every head snaps upward. A streak of cyan light drops like a meteor, arriving before anything else can land, and crashes directly into the massive ghostly claw midair. No flashy spells, just pure savage kinetic force. The Underworld Ghost Claw, capable of destroying a city the moment it makes contact with that cyan streak, crumbles like tofu hitting a hammer, and explodes into a sky full of black mist. The streak does not slow down. It plunges straight down into the open ground before the city wall. The earth heaves violently. The shockwave hits like a magnitude 10 earthquake, launching tens of thousands of northern tribe cavalry, horses and all, into the sky. For one long moment, everything goes silent. Whether the northern tribe forces sprawled on the ground or the defenders on the wall, everyone stares at the smoke and dust with their mouths open. The smoke at the center slowly clears. At the heart of a massive crater, I slowly straighten up and brush the dust off my robe. I adjust my bamboo hat. I mutter to myself, that was a bit far. Did not quite manage the landing. Are you the one in charge here? Lyra stares at me for a long moment, then says in a trembling voice, I am. May I ask which immortal mountain you descend from? I am not an immortal master. I turn around, my back to the wall, and look up at the figure floating in the air, the Crimson Elder, who is also pretty frightening. I am just a mayor. Heard there was some trouble here, came to sort it out. The Crimson Elder sweeps his divine sense over me, not a single trace of spiritual energy. A mortal? Just some brute who trained a little in physical combat? He cannot figure out how the Ghost Claw was destroyed, but contempt for mortals is carved into every cultivator's bones. The Elder flares up with fury and wounded pride. He fires off a hand seal, summoning a blazing red sword that becomes a streak of blood-red light aimed straight at my forehead. Lyra cries out in alarm, watch out! I do not move a single inch. The instant before the sword reaches me, I raise my right hand and flick. That flying sword, a low-grade spirit weapon that could cut through iron like mud, gets knocked away by a single finger, and that is not all. The rebound force instantly fractures the blade from end to end. Then, with a sharp crack, it shatters into countless pieces. His soul artifact is destroyed. The Crimson Elder spits a mouthful of blood, his eyes wide with terror. Impossible. What kind of body is this? Even a body-refining cultivator cannot shatter spiritual energy with bare hands. You are just too fragile. I bend my knees slightly. The ground beneath me collapses instantly. Only an after-image remains where I stood. The next instant, I am 100 meters in the air, face to face with the Crimson Elder. I am not flying. I simply jumped. His pupils shrink. He barely manages to raise a spiritual energy shield before crying, please, spare me. I am of the Chiyu sect. My face is blank. I throw one punch. No technique. Just absolute force. The fist wind compresses the air, forming a pressure cannon and slams in the spiritual energy shield. The shield crumbles like paper. The force blows clean through the Elder's chest without slowing down, and behind him, it carves a vacuum trail stretching a full kilometer through the clouds. He stares at the hole in his chest, eyes wide, all the way until death takes him. He never figures out what kind of power just killed him. I let gravity bring me back down and land clean on top of the wall, right in front of Lyra. The Northern Tribe army watches a figure that looked like an immortal get killed by a single punch. The entire army breaks apart in an instant. Generals and soldiers alike throw down their armor and weapons and flee in a complete rout. The Qin wall falls completely silent. Every soldier stares at me in stunned fear. I ignore all of them. I just look at the princess standing before me, face covered in blood but still carrying herself with undeniable grace. Lyra draws a slow breath and bows deeply, her voice still trembling. Thank you for saving my life and saving our nation. May I know your name? Lyra would give everything the Empire has to repay you. I wave it off. No need for that. I came to ask one thing. Please ask. Whatever Lyra knows, she will tell you without holding back. I point to the body of the Crimson Elder on the ground. This one said he was from the Chiyu sect. Will the Chiyu sect send someone to avenge him? The Chiyu sect is based in the Yinzhang Mountains of the Spirit Realm's northern border. There are rules that limit travel between the Spirit Realm and the mortal realm. Spirit Realm cultivators who force their way down here do have some ways around it, but their power takes a severe hit. Are you worried about the Chiyu sect retaliating? I nod, then immediately relax. That is pretty far away. I took out the underling and I was worried the boss would come looking for trouble. I hate trouble more than anything. Alright, if there is nothing else, let us hope our paths never cross again. Since I have no spiritual root, ordinary cultivators cannot sense my power even when standing right next to me. I am just about to leave when Lyra calls out quickly, "Sir, the chin throne sits empty. If you are interested," I wave her off and pull my bamboo hat low. I am just a mayor. Do not tell anyone I was here. With that, I take one step forward and vanish into the vast dark of the night. Back in Gantang Town, I carry on as if nothing happened, just living my quiet little life. Year 85. I bring my strength to 40 points, but I notice that pushing strength alone is hitting a wall. My body is starting to struggle under the sheer scale of this power, so I decide to start investing in constitution next year. Year 90. Empress Lyra rules the Qin Empire with discipline and vision. She brings peace to all corners of the realm. Deep within the Imperial Palace, she erects a blank stone monument and visits it to pay her respects on the 1st and 15th of every month. Very few people know she is waiting for someone, and I am at the pond by the edge of town, fishing. Over these 10 years, I put 5 points into constitution and 5 into luck. My body is now as hard as a top-grade spirit weapon. A core stage cultivator could hit me all day while I just stand there and barely scratch my skin. Then, in year 95, I get my hands on a tattered map from a wandering martial artist. On it is the location of a teleportation array leading to the spirit realm. I glance at it, tuck it into a book, and use the book to prop up a wobbly table leg. Go to the spirit realm? You have got to be kidding. Word is that core stage cultivators are as common as stray dogs there. Nascent soul cultivators everywhere you look. Here in the mortal realm, I am an unrivaled ancient. In the spirit realm, I would be an insect someone crushes without a second thought. Not going. Absolutely not going. What I do not know is that at this point, my body alone could already push a nascent soul cultivator to the brink of death. Year 100. The elders of Gantang Town have been passing away, one generation after another. I have become the oldest person in town, but my face has not changed from 20 years old. To avoid drawing too much attention, I use the disguise art to paint on a mustache and pass myself off as a middle-aged man. One day, a beautifully dressed woman arrives in town. I recognize her immediately. It is the former Empress Lyra. 20 years have passed. Her face carries more marks of time now. She knows I hate trouble, so for a full 20 years, she never came looking for me. But now she has stepped down from the throne. After giving up the crown, she came here alone. "Sir, it is Lyra. May I have a cup of tea? Come in. Just made a fresh pot." She does not bring up the time I saved the empire. I do not bring up the time I cratered the earth with one punch. We talk like old friends who have known each other for years. We talk about the harvest, about the neighbor's cat, and in this moment she is no longer the fearsome empress who shook the world, and I am no longer pretending to be some great figure. Right now we are just two stars briefly crossing paths in the ordinary world. Lyra settles in town. She buys a small courtyard house right next door to mine. Every day she tends her flowers and plants. Sometimes she comes over to eat at my place. She never asks about my cultivation. I never bring up the court or the past. The townspeople say that even a stone finally blooms. The old mayor has found someone to spend his remaining years with. I just smile when I hear it. No explanation, no denial, because I know a mortal's remaining years are far too short. Year 115. Over these 15 years I bring strength to 50 and constitution to 20. My body density is terrifying now. I have to consciously hold back just walking around. Also this year, on a winter day thick with falling snow, the courtyard next door is unusually quiet. I push open the gate and step inside. Lyra is lying in a rocking chair, her hair completely silver. A thick fur blanket is draped over her, the same one she was wearing the first time we met. It is worn now. She looks at me. In her clouded eyes there flickers a spark, mischievous, satisfied, like a girl who got exactly what she wanted. "Sir, I've been drinking your tea for 15 years. Lyra is content. With trembling hands she draws a smooth jade pendant from inside her robe. This is the highest level seal of the Qin royal family. That year, I was not only fighting for the border, I also knew you hated trouble. As long as the Qin Empire stands, those blind little troublemakers will not dare disturb Gantang Town. Now I am leaving. In this life, to have spent these years by your side, Lyra is content. In the falling snow, this legendary empress passes away with a smile. I stand in the snow for a long time, not moving. Finally, I pour a cup of hot tea at her grave. In your next life, do not be born into a royal family, and do not cross paths with someone who cannot die. Find someone you love, spend your life with them. Year 120. I feel it again, a strange unease deep in my chest. Not from fear, but because this world seems to be rejecting me. My power has grown too great, so great that every breath I take disrupts the spiritual energy of everything around me. I have to be more and more careful just to suppress my own presence. I sit all day at that old table, the one propped up by the map, staring at nothing, until this day. The sky cracks open, literally. The sky above Gantang Town looks like a shattered mirror, with a massive black vortex at its center. Worse still, I can feel the will of this world pushing me out. This low-level world can no longer contain a max-level player like me. Streams of ascending light pour down from the sky, the light of a forced ascension. Whether I want it or not, this world is kicking me out. Looks like it is time to find a new place to lay low. I let out a long sigh and look back at Gantang Town. This place holds 120 years of my memories. I go back inside. I pull the dust-covered map from under the table leg, take the jade pendant Lyra left me, and shoulder the small pack that holds everything I own. I call out to the empty air. "All right, stop rushing me. I'm going on my own." I step into the air, following the streams of ascending light, and charge straight toward the massive rift. In the instant before I leave this world behind, I turn back and flick a finger toward Gantang Town. A soft golden light washes over the entire town. It is a blessing forged from 5 points of my luck stat. 100 years of good harvests and peaceful skies for everyone here. Call it my final month's rent, a flash of light. My figure vanishes completely from the mortal realm. The people of Gantang Town drop to their knees and bow their heads to the ground. Tears run down every face. And on the stone monument at the town entrance, words have appeared, no one knows when. Carved into the rock, a guardian lived here. His name, the Ageless One. The world around me shifts and blurs. When I open my eyes again, the spiritual energy here is so thick it nearly suffocates me. This is the spirit realm, the sacred land of all cultivators, and a ruthless arena where only the strong survive. I am standing on a massive ascension platform. Cultivators in robes of every color surround me on all sides, but when they see me, every single one of them freezes. Why does this ascender look so completely ordinary? There is not a single trace of spiritual energy on him. I pretend to look a little nervous, shrinking my neck slightly, and quietly ask, "Excuse me, could someone tell me how to get to the Qiu sect?" At my question, the cultivators around the platform exchange glances. Then they burst out laughing. "Ha! The Qiu sect? That is the most feared dark sect in the Yinzhang Mountains of the northern border. A mortal body that has not even reached the Qi gathering stage. That is not how you look for trouble. That is how you beg to die. Probably got into it with a Qiu sect envoy down in the mortal realm and got forcefully launched up here. Poor fool." I ignore the laughter. I reach into my pack and pull out a gold ingot, and hand it to the one laughing the hardest, a chubby cultivator with a round face. Still chuckling, I ask, "Could you point me in roughly the right direction?" The pudgy cultivator eyes the mortal gold and curls his lip in disdain, but still lazily points, "Due north, 300,000 miles. Where the dark energy is heaviest and black clouds press down. That is it. But I am telling you, do not go. The Qiu sect is famous for refining living people's souls. You look like easy prey. They will not even leave you in one piece." I nod seriously. I press my fist together in thanks and say, "Much appreciated for the warning. I always take good advice. I will be right back once I handle this." With that, I turn to face due north. I bend my knees slightly. The next second, the platform beneath me, crafted from 10,000-year black ice stone said to be immovable even by a god transformation stage cultivator, shatters under my feet with a thunderous crack. The rebound force unleashes a storm of catastrophic force. By the time they crawl back up, covered in dust and debris, I am long gone. All that remains is a ring of cracks in the ground, hundreds of feet deep, and in the sky above, a vacuum trail ripped clean through the air by nothing but my body. Dead silence. The pudgy cultivator swallows hard. He stares at the gold ingot in his hand. His legs will not stop shaking. What kind of body refining freak was that? 300,000 miles would take even a nascent soul cultivator of the spirit realm several days of sword flight to cover. For me, it is just a matter of a few extra jumps. Half an hour later, the Yinzhang Mountains of the northern border. This place is perpetually swathed in black mist, thick with the chill of the underworld. Inside the main hall at the peak of the Qiu sect, the current patriarch Bloodmere is furious. "Useless, every last one of you useless, 80 years, and you still have not found that damned mayor from the mortal realm?" A single punch from him destroyed the 9th Elder Soul artifact and killed him outright. He wiped out every operation we had in the mortal realm. If we do not avenge this, what is left of the Qiu sect's honor? The elders kneeling below dare not make a sound. The Grand Elder forces himself to speak. "Patriarch, please calm down. The heavenly suppression is just too severe. Any disciple we send down there, the moment they exceed the foundation stage, gets struck down by a heavenly lightning tribulation. We simply cannot track this person down. Bloodmir's eyes burn dark and cold. He is about to erupt, when suddenly, a blazing streak of cyan light descends with world-ending force and slams straight into the white jade plaza of the main hall. The entire Yinzhang mountain range shakes violently. Countless halls and towers crumble in the shockwave. Screams ring out one after another. Bloodmir's face drains of color. He charges out of the hall with the elders right behind him. In the center of the plaza, a massive crater has appeared out of nowhere. Through the swirling dust and smoke, a young man in a faded bamboo hat and a well-worn long robe is calmly patting the dust off himself, in no particular hurry. Bloodmir's divine sense sweeps over him instantly. His heart goes cold. Not a trace of spiritual energy. How can this be immortal? Who are you? And why have you destroyed the gate of our Chiyu sect? I straighten my bamboo hat, lift my head, and sweep a calm gaze across the crowd. I am the mayor of Gantang Town. Those words land. Dead silence. Bloodmir's eyes go wide. It is you, that filthy body refining brute. I nod. Heard you've been looking for me for 80 years. I hate trouble more than anything, and I hate being on someone's mind even more. So on my very first day after Ascension, I figured I would swing by on the way and take care of this problem while I'm at it. Bloodmir's rage flips into a cold, furious laugh. Killing intent blazes in his eyes. You had the path to heaven and you walked away from it. Hell has no gate, yet here you are walking in. In the mortal realm, I could not touch you. But here in the spirit realm, I am a god transformation stage cultivator. All elders, hear my command. Form the 10,000 ghost soul devouring formation. Form the 10,000 ghost soul devouring formation. Strip this man of flesh and bone. Refine his soul into a lantern. Before the words have even faded, dozens of nascent soul stage elders flood the sky with torrents of dark energy, conjuring hundreds of millions of vengeful spirits that blot out the sky as they surge toward me. Facing the full might of a god transformation stage cultivator and an entire sect, I do not even think about dodging. I just take a slow, deep breath. Then I raise my right hand and close it into a fist. Strength, 50. Luck, 11. Grand tortoise breath, void burst. I throw the punch. No blinding light, no fluctuation of laws, just pure physical destruction taken to its absolute limit. The air is compressed by unimaginable force to the breaking point in an instant. Then it explodes. A visible white shockwave fans outward and sweeps everything in front of it. The 10,000 ghost soul devouring formation shatters. Every vengeful spirit is erased into nothing. Those nascent soul stage elders, they do not even have time to scream. Their bodies, caught in the raging fist wind, dissolve into a rain of blood across the sky. The wave does not stop. It drives straight toward Bloodmir. After that single punch, the wind dies. The summit of the Chiyu sect is gone. In its place, a canyon stretching hundreds of miles so deep the bottom cannot be seen. I turn around and walk back down the mountain the way I came. From Ascension to wiping out an entire sect, it took me 1 hour. The karmic ties to the mortal realm have been completely severed. No one will be coming for me anymore. I rub my chin and start thinking about what comes next. The spiritual energy in the spirit realm is incredibly dense. The grand tortoise breath art should work at double efficiency here. First, I should find a quiet little mortal town nestled in the mountains, and lay low for another 10,000 years or so. Once I get every stat to 10,000 points, I smile to myself, pull my bamboo hat low. By then, I should finally be truly unbeatable. The chaos at the Ascension platform spreads to all 17 nearby cities within half a day. The news of the Chiyu sect's annihilation, 3 days later, sweeps through the entire northern spirit realm like a plague. But no one connects the two events, because no one believes that a mortal who just ascended from the mortal realm could, in the span of a single hour, wipe out a dark sect with 3,000 years of history. I am perfectly satisfied with this. Nobody watching me is exactly the best possible outcome. After leaving the Yinzhang mountains, I deliberately slow down. This is the spirit realm after all, not the mortal realm. In the mortal realm I could walk sideways if I wanted. Here, I decide to keep my head down and stay humble. I head south, deliberately passing through wherever ordinary mortals live. 7 days later, I arrive at a small place called Fengqiao Town and stop. It sits between a mountain and a river. Spiritual energy is thin, far from any major sect. The town is full of hunters, herb farmers, and traveling merchants. Most importantly, the town is small enough that trouble is rare. I spend 2 taels of silver and buy a rundown house with a small courtyard. I hang Lyra's jade pendant above the bed and use the tattered map to prop up the wobbly table leg again. I realize that no matter where I go, this map is always best used as a table prop. First year after Ascension, I do not add to strength. I put 1 point into spiritual power instead. In an instant, the grand tortoise breath art, which is always turned slowly inside me, ignites like a flame just touched to dry wood. The spiritual energy of the spirit realm is far richer than anything in the mortal realm. For the first time, I clearly feel it. A thin thread forming inside me, spiritual essence that is truly my own. It is weak. So weak that even a chi gathering stage cultivator might look down on it. But to me, it means everything. Because this means I am no longer just a mayor who punches things. I am now a mayor who punches things and cultivates both body and spirit. Second year, I add another point into spiritual power. Nourished by the dense spiritual energy of the spirit realm, the grand tortoise breath art begins to transform. It is no longer just the breath of eternity art in another form. It has become something entirely new, a new cultivation method. I name it the Black Tortoise Longevity Sutra. The name is powerful. The effects are even more so. It not only converts lifespan into cultivation with great efficiency, it also compresses and refines my vitality, spiritual power, and divine sense together. Simply put, it is perfectly built for laying low. Third year, I try spreading out my divine sense. The moment it extends, the entire Fengqiao town lays out in my mind like an open map, every detail crystal clear. I see the widow who sells tofu on the east end of town secretly delivering pickled vegetables to the blacksmith next door. See the compulsive gambler on the west street digging up the hidden savings his wife thinks he does not know about. I see the old mayor in the back courtyard of the town office, hunched over his ledger groaning at the numbers. I quietly pull my divine sense back. Knowing too much is its own kind of trouble. Unfortunately, trouble does not disappear just because you find it annoying. Half a month later, a third-rank wolf demon appears outside Fengqiao town. The old mayor and a dozen constables stand at the gate, legs trembling. I stand at the back of the crowd. I was not planning to get involved, but the wolf demon picks the worst possible target. It bites through half my courtyard wall. I am silent for 2 breaths. Then I walk forward. 1 punch. Its head explodes. Everyone in town freezes. The old mayor drops to his knees on the spot. I help him up and sincerely explain that I'm just a passing stranger. But the very next morning, the townspeople show up at my door carrying a wooden plaque. 5 gold embossed characters on it, please be our mayor. I stand in the doorway staring at that plaque, a sight I know all too well, and say nothing. I came to the spirit realm to find a new place to lay low. And somehow after all that, I end up as a mayor again. I decline 3 times. The townspeople kneel for 3 days. Finally, I let out a long sigh and accept the job. Managing a town, after all, is something I have plenty of experience with. And so my first official role in the spirit realm becomes mayor of Fengqiao town. Once word spreads, the nearby towns are stunned. Because no one has ever seen a mortal mayor who kills a third-rank demon with 1 punch. Fengqiao town quickly becomes famous. And fame, just as quickly, brings new trouble. Strange people begin showing up one after another. A teenager with a giant sword on his back and despair written all over his face. A young woman fleeing enemies carrying a blood debt that stretches back generations. And a young man in black, his spiritual core shattered, who keeps muttering that what goes around comes around. I look at their faces, every single one radiating main character energy, and my eye starts twitching. I immediately put up a new sign at the town entrance. It says one thing: this town does not take disciples, does not meddle in feuds, does not handle broken engagements, and does not deal out face-slapping justice. Everyone stares at it, completely baffled. Only I know how important that rule truly is. But rules, unfortunately, have almost no effect on people with main character energy. 5th year in the spirit realm. A woman in white arrives at Fengqiao town. As she enters, fine snow begins to fall from the sky. Every person on the street turns to look, because she is breathtaking and utterly cold. Behind her follow 8 escorts whose presence alone is enough to make the air feel heavy. The wanderers in town recognize her identity instantly. From the Xuanshao sect, the holy maiden, Shira. I'm in the courtyard splitting wood. When I hear that name, the axe in my hand stops for the first time. Then, quietly, someone knocks at the courtyard gate. A voice comes from outside. Familiar, yet somehow distant, sir. May Shira have a cup of tea? Stand still for a long time. Then, finally, I walk over and open the gate. Shira stands there, her face unchanged by time, but her eyes carry so much more than they used to. She looks at me. Her eyes begin to redden. I have been looking for you for over 100 years. I glance at her. Then at the 8 guardian escorts standing behind her. You didn't have to bring so many people. Shira says softly, it wasn't my choice. They insisted on following me. I frown. That one sentence tells me trouble is coming. I waver inside. The 8 guardian escorts move to follow. I give them one look. The gate slams shut on its own. All 8 freeze. They can't even summon the will to push it open. Inside the courtyard, Shira sits at the stone table, watching quietly as I brew tea. She doesn't ask how I've been. I don't ask how she made it all the way from the mortal realm to here. We both know the last 100 years couldn't have been easy. When the tea is ready, Shira wraps both hands around her cup and murmurs, "You haven't changed, sir." I have. Back then I only had to worry about trouble from the mortal realm. Now the spirit realm is starting too. Shira can't help but laugh, and for a moment she looks exactly like that 10-year-old girl who once grabbed my sleeve in tears, but the smile only lasts a moment before exhaustion takes its place. "Sir, I came here to ask for your help. Something has gone wrong at the Xuanshao sect. The disciple who took me in 30 years ago, he filed a petition and the new patriarch colluded with the Tianming Hall in the central realm. They want to use my luck to open the ancient emperor's tomb. I refused, and now the entire Xuanshao sect will be killed." I'm quiet for a moment, then sigh. I knew it. Once you pick up main character energy, nothing good follows. "Sir, do you regret opening the door for me?" Shira lowers her head, but the corners of her mouth curl up slightly. She knows what my question really means. It means no. Just then a sharp voice cuts through the courtyard wall. "By order of the patriarch, you are to return to the sect immediately. If you continue to associate with this nobody of unknown origin, do not blame us for being ungentle. We haven't even finished our tea and they're already pushing. They've been there the whole time." I nod and set down my cup. He showed up, so trouble usually isn't far behind. Sure enough, on the 3rd day at noon, people from the Tianming Hall arrive. A middle-aged man in black robes. He doesn't make a move right away. He's more cautious than the elders from the Xuanshao sect. He stands outside my formation 3 miles away and cups his hands in greeting. "I am Zhou Fei, executor of the Tianming Hall, acting on the orders of the Hallmaster. I come to invite fellow cultivator Kai for a conversation." I don't like that title. "Are you aware that Shira carries a fate contract tied to the opening of the ancient emperor's tomb? That's her contract, not yours. Are you declaring yourself an enemy of the Tianming Hall?" "Didn't want to, but you came anyway." Silence falls outside the town. Zhou Fei clearly didn't expect me to be this blunt. After a long pause, he laughs. "Arrogant. The Tianming Hall has stood in the central realm for 10,000 years. We have more cultivators at the peak of God transformation stage than I can count on both hands. No matter how capable you are, do you really think you can defy fate itself?" I look up at the sky. Back when I was still in the mortal realm, people said the same kind of thing to me. They're all dead now. The smile fades from Zhou Fei's face. The next moment, 3 ancient bronze fate coins fly out from his sleeve, expanding in the wind, forming a formation array that blankets the entire town. Above the array, celestial patterns churn. Fate threads weave together. This is the Tianming Hall's signature technique, stealing luck, rewriting destiny. The sky above Fengchao town darkens in an instant. The townspeople feel dizzy and hollow, as if their very souls are being pulled out of them. Shira steps to my side and whispers, "Sir, be careful. This is true forbidden art." I nod, then reach up and grab a fate thread right out of the air. Zhou Fei's pupils shrink sharply. That fate thread has no physical form. It can only be guided by divine sense. Yet here I am, pulling it like yanking a rope out of thin air. So this is what fate looks like. I turn it over. It feels brittle. I tighten my grip. Snap. The entire formation array shatters. Zhou Fei staggers like he's been struck by lightning and coughs up a mouthful of blood. "Impossible. How can you touch a fate thread with your bare hands?" I shake out my fingers. Interesting. So this is how luck and destiny work. Zhou Fei goes cold all over because he suddenly realizes I wasn't overpowering his technique. I was experiencing it for the first time. One look, and I can tear a fate thread with my bare hands. This is beyond the word monster. This is art. Genuine art. He doesn't dare stay a second longer. He spins around and tries to use an escape technique. I stay seated, don't even stand up, just flick a finger. A pulse of invisible force crosses 3 miles of open sky. Zhou Fei, his body, his soul destiny disc, his soul artifact, all of it detonates in midair, gone without a trace. After that day, Fengchao town goes completely quiet. No one dares come near. Even birds flying overhead take a deliberate detour. I finally get a taste of the peace I've been missing, but I know it won't last. Zhou Fei managed to send word back to the central realm before he died. Sure enough, half a month later, 3 grand divination masters from the Tianming Hall open their divination altars at the same time. They want to read my origins, read my destiny, read the threads of fate between me and Shira. The first grand divination master sees nothing but a blank void, and collapses bleeding from every orifice. The second doesn't even finish saying beyond the boundary before his body explodes into fragments. The third has it worst. He forces his way to Gantang town, finds a stone stele with 5 words carved into it, "An immortal dwells here, no evil may approach." Then he goes mad. The Tianming Hall erupts into chaos. Elder Lin issues a personal decree, the one called Nobilium Evil must not be divined, not provoked, not approached. Anyone who disobeys will be expelled. These people finally show some sense. I breathe a little easier. Shira sits across from me, watching me lazily refill the teapot. I glance at the sunset beyond the courtyard wall. Shira asks softly, "Sir, what do you plan to do next?" "Keep living here for now. Allocate a few more years of stat points. Wait until I'm strong enough that no one can touch me, then I'll really feel settled." "And what about me?" I look up at her. "You can stay if you want, but let's be clear, I don't take disciples, and I don't take in holy maidens." Shira blinks. "Then what do you take?" I think it over. "Someone who freeloads meals, that I can probably manage." Shira stares at me for a moment, then lets out a soft laugh. It's the most at ease she's laughed since arriving in the spirit realm, and soon enough, a new rumor spreads through Fengchao town. "Did you hear? That white-robed woman beside the mayor, her background is terrifying, yet when she's with the mayor she acts like a quiet little wife." "A wife. The mayor really has a way with people." When I hear this, I nearly spit out my tea. I almost say something, but then decide it's not worth the effort. Ordinary people always have something to say. Better they wonder if I'm a late bloomer in love than speculate I'm some ancient body cultivator. At least that's less terrifying. Year 10 in the spirit realm. My strength stat reaches 55. Constitution reaches 25. Magic power reaches 5. My divine sense now covers 10,000 miles in every direction. My physical body has crossed into a level I can't even describe. That night, I'm practicing combat forms in the courtyard. I throw a casual punch at the sky, and 10,000 miles away, a passing meteorite shatters. Staring at the burst of fire blooming in the darkness above, I sink into a brief silence. Oh no. Am I getting a little too overpowered again? Shira is watching from the covered walkway. "Sir, that sentence sounds a little." I think about it seriously. Does it? I'll try to say it less. But before I can enjoy the peace any longer, a massive piece of news sweeps the entire spirit realm from the central realm. The ancient emperor's tomb has appeared ahead of schedule, and one of the keys to opening its gate is the fate luck carried by Shira. At the same time, the Tianming Hall, the Dahuang Sanctum, the Wanyao Mountain, and the Wuliang Sword Sect, all 4 major powers issue a decree together. Anyone who provides the whereabouts of Shira and Kai will be rewarded with a life force treasure. Anyone who captures both of them will be granted an entire province. The whole spirit realm begins to stir. I stand at the town entrance staring at the bounty notice that's just been posted, silent for a long moment. Then I look over at Shira. "I told you, once you catch main character energy, you're never free of trouble." Shira presses her lips together. "So what do? I reach down and tear the notice off the post, crumple it into a ball, and toss it into the fire basin. The firelight catches the brim of my hat and my expression, a face far too calm for the situation. "What do? They want to find us? Then let's make sure they can't." I rise slowly, dust off my sleeve and move without another word. Shira immediately follows. One step forward, the ground explodes into a crater beneath my foot. Shira barely has time to register the blur before the scenery around her has already changed. The 9 realms are vast, for spirit realm cultivators, vast enough that a lifetime might not be enough to cross. For me, it just takes a few jumps. Half an hour later, Shira and I are standing outside the main gate of the Tianming Hall. Mountains rise in every direction, clouds press low overhead, and 99 heaven-reading platforms hang suspended in the sea of clouds above. It genuinely has the air of an immortal sect. The gate is already open. No formation array, no ambush, no killing intent. Just a white-haired old man standing alone at the gate, waiting. Shira glances at him and murmurs, "That's Elder Lin, the hallmaster of the Tianming Hall." I study the old man. He's already easier to look at than Zhou Fei. At least he didn't open with threats. Elder Lin bows deeply. I look at him. "You people are supposed to be the best at reading fate, so if you saw me coming, why didn't you run?" Elder Lin gives a bitter smile. "Because I spent an entire night divining and only learned one thing. No matter how fast I run, I can't outrun your fists." I get straight to the point. "Who put out the bounty?" Elder Lin pauses, then speaks honestly. "The Dahuang Sanctum proposed it. The Wanyao Mountain agreed. The Wuliang Sword Sect nodded along. The Tianming Hall was forced to participate. Everyone believed Shira was the key to opening the tomb. And in reality, Elder Lin lifts his gaze toward me, his expression layered with something hard to name. The status panel doesn't point to her, it points to you. Shira's expression shifts slightly. I'm not particularly surprised. Go on. Elder Lin takes a deep breath. What lies in that tomb is not an emperor, but an immortal who fell from beyond the boundary. Legend says this immortal's death contaminated the entire emperor's burial sea and had to be suppressed by a coalition of spirit realm immortals. The emperor's tomb was built as a shell around it. Now the seal is weakening, and everyone rushes for treasure. But I believe what they'll find is not treasure, but trouble. The moment I hear the word trouble, I sit up straighter. When does the seal break? Tonight at the hour of Z, at the void gate in the emperor's burial sea. I nod. Elder Lin hesitates. Fellow cultivator Kai, tonight will be crowded. The lord of the Dahuang Sanctum, the master of the Wanyao Mountain, the leader of the Wuliang sword sect, even several ancient cultivators who've been in seclusion for decades will be there. They may not be your match, but what lies beyond the void gate, even they don't know what it is. That's fine. People don't scare me. Things do. After leaving the Tianming Hall, we don't linger. The Emperor's burial sea lies at the far eastern edge of the central realm, a seamless horizon, perpetually black. By the time we arrive, night has just fallen. The entire sea lies as still as a colossal coffin, and in the center of the sea, suspended in the air, a massive black gate, tens of thousands of feet tall, carved all over with ancient runes no living person can read. All four major powers are already here. To the east, the Tianming Hall, but they're standing far back, clearly here just to watch. To the west, the Dahuang Sanctum, radiating divine energy, holy light flooding the sky. To the south, the Wuliang sword sect, sword energy slashing across the air, splitting the seawater into hundreds of gashes. To the north, the Wanyao Mountain, great demons of every kind claiming the sky, their ferocity blotting out the moon. And beyond them, countless rogue cultivators and ancient monsters lurking in the shadows, every last one of them waiting for the gate to open. The moment Shira and I appear, the entire sea goes silent. Every eye falls on me. Bold enough to actually show up. A freak who ascended from the mortal realm. Let's see how far that arrogance takes him today. The sea wind is cold. I just look down at the churning black water beneath my feet. Bad energy in this place. Shira murmurs, are you talking about them? I shake my head. I'm talking about what's behind the gate. Just then, a pillar of golden light erupts from the Dawang Sanctum side. A middle-aged man in golden robes steps out onto empty air, his presence blazing like a rising sun. Lord Jibo of the Dawang Sanctum, hand over Shira, and this lord will act as if none of this ever happened. I look up at him. The entire sea falls silent. And who exactly are you? Lord Jibo's face goes red with fury. Veins pulse at his temple. Kai, do you truly want to make enemies of the entire world? I think about it sincerely. I only came to have a conversation, but the way you're all talking makes me not want to anymore. Lord Jibo laughs in fury. Fine, then let this lord see today just how bold an ascendant from the mortal realm can be. He raises his hand. A massive ancient cauldron rises slowly from the void. The moment it appears, all spiritual energy for 10,000 miles collapses inward. The sea surface sinks dozens of feet under the pressure. Someone cries out, the primordial heaven cauldron, the sacred relic of the Dahuang Sanctum. It plummets. In that one instant, half the sky seems to cave in. I don't move, don't dodge, don't retreat. I simply raise my right hand and catch the cauldron with one palm. The impact, the sea erupts in waves thousands of feet high, but my feet don't sink a single inch. Every cultivator present stands slack-jawed. Lord Jibo's face drains of color. This, impossible. I weigh the cauldron in my hand, then nod. The next moment, I close my fingers, just slightly. The primordial heaven cauldron lets out a shriek, and cracks race across its surface. Lord Jibo spits blood and screams in horror, stop, stop now. Too late. With a sharp crack, the primordial heaven cauldron shatters in my grip. Countless fragments rain into the sea. Lord Jibo stands frozen as I casually tuck the largest handle fragment into my bag. I'll hold on to this, useful for boiling water later. Before the crowd can recover from their shock, a roar comes from the Wuliang sword sect side. A grey-robed elder rides a storm of 10,000 swords forward, every hair standing on end, killing intent filling the sky. Insolent wretch, how dare you defile a sacred relic? Master Z of the Wuliang sword sect, come meet your end. I watch the endless river, swords blotting out the sky. I frown slightly. You sword cultivators, why do you all talk like that? Master Z has no interest in words. He sweeps his hand down. 100,000 flying swords fall like a torrential storm. The entire night sky ignites as bright as noon. I stand still, slowly extend two fingers and gently pinch them together. Every single sword slams into something invisible and freezes midair. Then I close my fist. The entire river of swords compresses, crushed into one giant ball of twisted metal. Master Z's eyes go bloodshot. My swords! I flick a finger. The sword ball shoots back like a meteor. Master Z and the 36 sword cultivators behind him are instantly pulverized into a cloud of ash. Their entire formation falls silent. Just then, the black gate at the center of the sea suddenly glows. Shira's face goes pale. Sir, it's looking at you. I feel it too. It's not my imagination. Whatever is behind that gate is genuinely watching me. The next moment, the gate shutters with a boom. An enormous black chain snaps through the gap. Every face present changes. Elder Lin cries out from a distance. The gate isn't opening. What's inside is coming out. The gate opens. A pale white hand slowly reaches through from behind. The hand is not large. It even looks ordinary. But the moment it appears, all spiritual energy within 10 miles dies. Truly dies. No longer flowing, no longer breathing, no longer responding to anyone's technique. One ancient cultivator screams in terror. An immortal corpse, that's an immortal corpse. The next second, the hand presses down gently, and that ancient cultivator, along with hundreds of cultivators nearby, silently turns to ash. Chaos erupts. The great lords who stood so tall just moments ago now throw up blood shields. Some burn their lifespan, some drop to their knees and kowtow on the spot. None of it matters. What's inside the gate is slowly walking out. It is a white-robed figure wrapped in broken dangling chains, no eyes. Its face is nothing but smooth, pale nothing. Yet the moment it lifts its head, everyone feels seen. First time I've encountered something that looks like more trouble than me. The white immortal corpse slowly raises its hand and points directly at me. In that instant, a sense of danger unlike anything I've ever felt settles over me for the first time. The space beneath my feet begins to collapse. My chi and blood reverse flow. Even the black tortoise longevity sutra inside me lets out a roar it has never made before. I look down at my arm. A thin cut has opened on the skin. I've been in the spirit realm this long, and you're the first thing I can't overpower. The white immortal corpse doesn't respond. It simply takes one step forward. When that step lands, the Emperor's burial sea evaporates instantly. Layers of mist rise from where the water once was. Countless cultivators don't even have time to scream. They dissolve into white light and vanish. The white immortal corpse steps fully out of the gate. The entire sky and earth begin to fracture. A massive black rift tears open beyond the heavens, as if the whole spirit realm is being split apart. I look up at that crack. My brow finally furrows. Because I suddenly realize, if I let this thing keep going, forget peace and quiet, I might not even have a town left to be mayor of. That thought settles it. I let out a long sigh. I only came out to make a point. How did it turn into cleaning up someone else's mess again? Shira watches me, then says quietly, Sir, if you stopped holding back your chi and blood, I stop suppressing my divine sense. Stop suppressing the body that has grown strong enough to defy reason. Then, a boom. My presence unfurls across the spirit realm for the first time, completely, fully, across 100,000 miles. Mountains and seas go silent. The countless cultivators still fleeing are crushed to their knees by this tide of pure, overwhelming life force, too raw and vast to resist. The broken chains on the corpse fly upward at the same moment, forming 9 black dragons that lunge for me. I grab the first one and whip it away. The second, I lash it apart. The third, I stomp it in half. The fourth coils around my waist, but only manages to tighten halfway before my core muscles flex and shatter it. From far away, a group of watching cultivators stare in disbelief. He just flexed through an immortal chain? What in the world is this thing? The white immortal corpse finally stops engaging head-on. It reaches toward the sky. The rift above tears wider. Countless dark shapes pour out from the depths of the crack, as if seizing this moment to descend into the spirit realm. Elder Lin watches, terror draining the color from his face. It's opening a boundary gate. It's pulling the corruption from beyond the boundary inside. The moment I hear beyond the boundary, I pause. And then it hits me. When the Tianming Hall's divination backlashed, the two words those grand divination masters never finished saying, beyond the boundary. So that's what they meant. The white immortal corpse senses my hesitation. It vanishes and reappears before Shira in an instant, reaching for her forehead. The luck around Shira erupts automatically, forming countless white gold chains to block it, but far too weak against an immortal corpse. My gaze goes cold. You're asking to die. The next moment, I'm gone. No, not gone, just too fast for any eye to follow. When I reappear, I'm standing behind the immortal corpse. My right hand is buried in its chest. The whole world goes quiet again. The white immortal corpse looks slowly down at the hand protruding from its chest. In my hand, a sphere as black as the darkest night. Not a heart of flesh and blood, but a death core, still pulsing. For the first time, my hand burns. The heat of a power far beyond anything I faced scorches my palm, but I don't hesitate. My fingers slam shut. Crack. The black sphere detonates. The white immortal corpse shudders. Everything holding it together begins to collapse, the immortal light draining fast, but it doesn't die immediately. That smooth, featureless face slowly splits open, like a mouth forming. Then, in the most broken, ragged voice, a sound speaks directly inside my mind. So it's you. My pupils contract. You know me. Not you, someone like you. Then what? Its voice breaks apart, its body beginning to fully dissolve. I press harder. Then what? The white immortal corpse goes silent for one breath, then leaves behind 4 words. Do not ascend. The voice fades. It dissolves into a vast scatter of pale gray light. The rift it tore open seals slowly at the same moment. Color returns to the sky and sea. Everyone who survives stares at me. No cheers, no applause, only a bone-deep awe edged with fear, because they watched a man who calls himself a mayor reach into an immortal corpse and tear out its core. I stand there without speaking. Shira steps to my side. She glances at me carefully. Sir, are you all right? I look down at the pale gray mark still etched into my palm. Not really. Her eyes tighten. Badly hurt? I shake my head. No, the trouble just got bigger. Shira blinks. Of everything going through your head right now, that's what you're thinking about? Just then, a faint light stirs deep within the now open gate. I scan it with my divine sense. My expression shifts slightly. There's something else inside. Shira follows my gaze. Do we go in? I'm quiet for 2 breaths. I didn't want to, but what the immortal corpse said before it died is too hard to ignore, especially those words. Someone like you. Someone like you. So I nod. We go in, take a look, and leave. I step through the gate. Shira follows close behind. What lies beyond is not a tomb, but a ruined gray-white wasteland that collapsed long ago. No spiritual energy here, no trace of time passing at all. Only a crumbling stone hall standing alone at the center of the ruins. Before its entrance, a broken stele. No spirit script, no ancient runes, just handwriting I know. Handwriting I would recognize anywhere. I stop in front of the stele, and for the first time, I'm truly stunned. Shira can't read a single word. She asks softly, Sir, what does it say? I stare at the stele, and read it aloud, word by word. To whoever comes after, if you can read this, then I have already failed. I was like you, from somewhere else. Like you, I grew stronger through time. The upper realm is not a paradise. It is a hunting ground. Ascension is nothing more than lifting a grown fish into a larger net. If you are reading this, it means I failed to tear through that net. Do not rush to ascend. At least not until you believe you can shatter the heavens with one fist. Inside the hall, I have left a soul-bound seal. It can share longevity with one person. A small gift of continuity for whoever finds this. I'm silent for a long time. Shira stands beside me without a word. She can't read what's carved there, but she can read what's in my eyes. Not fear, something quieter, the stillness of finally finding a signpost. Deep inside the stone hall, just as the stele promised, a small bronze seal hangs suspended. No spiritual energy within it, only an aura of the same origin as mine. I reach out and close my hand around it. Instantly, I understand what it does. It cannot grant someone the same limitless growth as me, but it can let one person share in a long, long life alongside me. I glance over at Shira without thinking. Her ears go pink under my gaze. Still, she asks softly, Sir, what did it say? I think about how to answer. It says, don't try to go higher, not yet. Shira nods. Then we don't. She answers too quickly, as if this were never a question that needed thinking about. I smile. I left home to deal with trouble, and at the end of all that trouble, someone just like me left a lantern in the dark. Before we leave, I turn back and look at the gray ruins one last time. Then I throw a single punch. The entire sealed space, gate and all, shatters and sinks into oblivion. I don't want it left standing. If that immortal corpse got out once, it might get out again. Anything that threatens my peaceful life is better off buried forever. Back at the Emperor's burial sea, the great powers are still on their knees, not a single one daring to lift their head. I don't bother with speeches. Just one sentence. From this day forward, anyone who makes a move against Shira or Fengchao Town, I will come sit at their front gate. No one speaks. But everyone knows that one sentence carries more weight than any oath ever could. That same day, the Tianming Hall withdraws the bounty. The Dahuang Sanctum seals its gates for 100 years. The Wuliang Sword Sect declares the name Kai forbidden, not to be spoken. The Wanyao Mountain relocates its entire peak 100,000 miles away overnight. And I say nothing more. I simply take Shira and walk home to Fengchao Town. The courtyard is still there, the teapot is still there, the old mat tucked under the table leg is still there too. I crouch down and pull it out, take a look, and push it back. Still does the job. Shira laughs beside me. That night, I sit in the courtyard and brew tea. I set the bronze soul-bound seal on the stone table and slide it toward her. Shira stares at it, eyes slowly going red. Over 100 years. She waited from the age of 10 until now, and this is the first time I've ever said the word future to her. She doesn't reach for the seal. She looks at me first and asks sincerely, Sir, does this count as taking me in? I hold my teacup and say nothing for a long moment. Yes. Only then does Shira smile and close her hand around the seal. Moonlight falls, catching in her eyes like scattered stars. That night, Fengchao Town sees no heavenly tribulation, no omens, only the old lantern in the courtyard, burning through the entire night. Many years later, people across the realm still talk about him. The one who crushed a sacred relic with one hand, who reached into an immortal corpse and tore out its core. Some say he long ago ascended to higher realms. Some say he lives in seclusion deep within a sacred ground. Others say he was never human to begin with, the reincarnation of some ancient power. But no one would ever guess that the man who made the entire spirit realm afraid to raise its voice is currently crouched at the stove in Fengchao Town, experimenting with whether the handle of the primordial heaven cauldron boils water faster. In the courtyard, Shira is drying herbs in the sun. Children chase each other at the street corner. The words on the town stele have faded with the years. I stand at the doorway, watching the warmth of ordinary life and think, this is enough. That net up above, I'll tear through it eventually. Just not today. Today I only want to deal with whose chicken wandered into whose yard. As for Kai, as for long life, as for whatever secrets lie higher up, all of it can wait. After all, I have nothing but time. And this time, I'm finally not alone.